Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we're going to be discussing the 2003 or 2003 film Daredevil, starring Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner. As a matter of fact, they met while making this movie, and then not too long after they got married, and then of course eventually got divorced. And it is where the Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck's relationship story while making this movie. Also, Michael Clark Duncan is in this film as well, playing Kingpin. I want to get into that in a minute because that's my pet peeve for this film. Of course, Daredevil came out. There was a few months. I think about 9 months after Spider-Man came out, because the first Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire came out in May of 2002, which is of course now May 2022, the 20th anniversary of that film, and of course the success of the original Spider-Man film 20 years ago gave the studios, particularly Sony Studios, which were making the movies then, the Marvel movies, to make to rush out another Marvel comic book hero. And they did that with Daredevil, which, of course, I'm not saying that Daredevil was not a popular character. It's just that it wasn't really that well-known character compared to, let's say, Spider-Man, the Hulk, the X-Men. Those were the more popular comic books in the Marvel universe, and they decided to make Daredevil. Well, Daredevil made his appearances in not just in the comic books. Course, I think it's the 60s. Daredevil also came out as the first actual appearance of Daredevil in a screen format was on television in the TV movie The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which was like the second of 3 TV movies that the Incredible Hulk appeared in. The time of Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno reprised their roles from the Incredible Hulk television series. And Matt Murdock defended Bruce Banner, or David Banner, and of course he appeared as Daredevil in that TV movie. So now, that's the only live-action version you ever saw of Daredevil. He appeared in the Spider-Man animated series cartoon, and I think he was also appeared in the Fantastic Four cartoon that was that came out in the 90s. So Daredevil has been around, but it doesn't have a full-blown single treatment, either a television series or cartoon or a standalone cartoon, I should say, or a movie until this one came out. I know it's a long introduction, but there it goes. Well, Daredevil, like I said, is an origin story. Unfortunately, because this one received pretty mediocre reviews between the critics and the fans of the Marvel Universe, so they never really made a sequel. I know there was a Daredevil television show, I think, on Netflix, but they never made another sequel with Ben Affleck as Daredevil. And of course, it will be, I think, over 10 years till Ben Affleck appeared as another comic book superhero who played Batman in two movies. The Justice League movie and the Batman vs. Superman film. But he never again appeared as Daredevil because he's Ben Affleck and he keeps the same look of expression on his face as he does in every one of his movies. Well, of course, Daredevil, of course, is an origin story, and it shows when Matt Murdock was a kid, and his father was the Devil. I mean, his nickname was the Devil. He was a fighter. His father was a prize fighter, and on the side, as he was not making that much money as a fighter, because he was known to throw fights. Because the Kingpin, find out, was paying him off to throw fights. And on the side, well, he was winning bets for the Kingpin by losing. Either winning or losing a fight, depending on what Kingpin got money on. He also was a mob enforcer for Kingpin's mob. So So one particular day, as Matt Murdock came home from school with his report card, and it's in the movie, and when I saw his father, he got straight A's on his report card, he ends up seeing his father beating up this thug who owned the Kingpin money, and he runs off and he gets into an accident. It was truck full of chemicals comes rolling by, stopped short, and the chemicals that was on the truck landed on Matt Murdock, got into his eyes, and affected his eyesight. Meanwhile, those chemicals that made Matt lose his eyesight enhanced his other senses into more like superpower senses, like a bat radar almost. And they were able to tell where the people are by hearing the heartbeat or detecting the heartbeat with his like super enhanced hearing, and how his other senses were chemically enhanced to be almost like superhuman senses. And of course that's how he was able to become Daredevil, because his senses were improved so much that he was able to defeat any opponent. I should also mention, I forgot to point out that Colin Farrell also stars in Daredevil. He plays the arch nemesis Bullseye, which is going into him also in this film as well. So the movie was kind of packed in a way. So he was able to enhance, and there was a sensei, or he went to one sensei martial arts expert to another to improve his fighting skills. And even though he was blind, he was able to he was like almost like a blind Batman in a way. And it was that comparison with Daredevil to Batman, because he had a costume and he didn't have, except for his senses, his super enhanced hearing and smell and ninja-like skills, that he was compared to Batman in a lot of ways. Well, the Punisher is more like Batman in Marvel comic books, because he has all these gadgets. Daredevil didn't have all those many gadgets except for his cane. That's all the Daredevil has, and his fighting skills. Anyway, I know I'm rambling on this thing. So Matt found out that who was behind. His father was still fighting, and he was supposed to lose this one particular fight, and he didn't lose because he didn't want to lose in front of his son. So what happened was the Kingpin's goons went out and killed him. And that's what happened. His father got killed by the Kingpin's goons, and all he hear was the Kingpin, and so he made his life's mission to go after the Kingpin. But he didn't know who the Kingpin was. Until, of course, he finds out, of course, towards the end of this movie, he finds out that Wilson Fisk, who is the rich guy who does a lot of charity work in New York City and stuff, behind the scenes, he was the Kingpin. And he was played by Michael Clark Duncan. And this was my pet peeve of this movie. And this is what the pet peeve was for a lot of people in this movie. I'm not trashing Michael Clark Duncan because, he's since passed away, and he was a good actor. He was very imposing because he was a very big guy. He was a huge guy. And because of his height and his build, it was a huge man in a lot of ways. But he was not the right guy for this role. And so the reason why he was not right for the role is the Kingpin, because he has the wrong skin color. That's the problem with this movie. Is that they hired a black man to play a white character. Now, if it's the reverse, in this woke culture we have now in the United States, if it was, let's say they hire a white guy, let's say they hired Tom Hanks to play Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., because we all know he is black, people will get the panties in a knot, throw a hissy fit over the whole situation. But it's okay to hire a black man to play a white comic book villain, which is what they did here. They also did that in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they hired Jamie Foxx to play Electro. We know that Electro was white, and they hired a black actor to play that part. Same thing here. They hired Michael Clark Duncan to play a white character, and it's it's an insult. It's an insult to the character because we all know that the character of Wilson Fisk was white, and they hired a black guy to play the part. I mean, Michael Clark Duncan was he was fighting the role, and I mean he did portray the character pretty well, but and like I said, I'm not going to trash the guy, but he's not white. He's a black actor playing a white character, and if the Kingpin was always depicted as a black character, then I could say hire Michael, hire Michael Clark Duncan for the part, but then I wouldn't have a problem with him playing the part. But since he's black, playing a white character, that's a problem. I don't care how anybody signs off on. It's not right to hire a black actor to play a white character, and it's also the vice versa, like I mentioned before. If they hire Tom Hanks to play Martin Luther King, or if they hired another actor, a white actor, to play a character that's always been black. Let's say the Shakespeare character Othello, who was always a black character depicted as black. What if they hired a white actor to play Othello, in Shakespeare, or if they make a remake of Fiddler on the Roof and they hire Denzel Washington to play Tivian. It's an insult. It's an insult to hire a black actor to play a white character. It's an insult because he's not black. Because the Kingpin is not black. Okay, he's white, and that's the only pet peeve of this film that I had. Other than Ben Affleck being in it, that's the only nitpick I have with this movie. And the other, of course, eventually, Matt Murdock falls in love with Jennifer Garner, and who won? I mean, she is drop dead gorgeous. I mean, she really is, and she happened to be playing a daughter of a guy who was associated with the Kingpin, and her father wanted to leave the business, get out of the business, and the Kingpin put the hit on him, and he hired, or Kingpin hired Bullseye, Colin Farrell character, who was like another arch nemesis of Daredevil. So actually have two, technically had three arch nemesis of Daredevil in this film. I'm going to get to the third one in a minute, hopefully. So Bullseye is a hitman for the Kingpin, for the mob, who never misses anything. I mean, he's so pinpoint accurate. He always, there's one scene when he's throwing darts. He always hits the bullseye in every shot he has. He never misses. And he kills. He's on an airplane and he has an annoying person sitting next to him and an old lady sitting next to him. And he's so accurate. He takes a peanut and he has to shoot it off the seat and into her mouth. I mean, it's that just crazy trick shots to kill somebody. He'll kill somebody with a toothpick. He kills somebody with a paper clip. He straighten out a paper clip and kills somebody with a paper clip. All his crazy ways, and he never misses. He never misses, this guy. And then, well, he was able to fight. Was fighting Daredevil, hand-to-hand fight with Daredevil, and he ends up getting Daredevil's cane, and he ends up using, or Bullseye uses that as a weapon to kill Jennifer Garner's father, and of course Jennifer Garner was Elektra, and who ended up becoming Elektra in this film, but she was like Elektra for like maybe 5 minutes in this film, and she ends up getting killed by Bullseye in this film, and it was a very emotional scene where Jennifer Garner's character gets killed, because at that point she was a very likable character. Of course, in the Marvel comic books, she don't really actually die. She was brought back to life, and she had her own standalone movie, Elektra. That's a couple of years later after this film, which turned out to be a bust in every single way possible. And so, but since the single Daredevil, she dies. Of course, now at that point, when Daredevil finds out that Wilson Fisk was, in reality, the Kingpin. So so Daredevil goes to, not only with that, before Daredevil confronts the Kingpin, he has it out with Bullseye, and Bullseye, for the first time in his life, actually misses. And it drove, and this was driving Bullseye crazy that he actually missed somebody. And he was trying to find some way to get even with Daredevil. He goes, the devil's mine, I want him. It's personal for me now, because he made me miss. I never miss. And Kingpin says, look, if you go after the daughter, go after his girlfriend, go after Jennifer Gordon's character, Elektra, go after her first, then after you do that, you do whatever the hell you want with Daredevil. But right now, stick to the plan and go after Elektra, which of course Bullseye does, and then he goes after Daredevil, and he almost dies, Bullseye. And of course, you see what happens during the closing credits. You see what happens with Bullseye. But anyway, Daredevil does go after Kingpin, and of course, Kingpin finds out who Daredevil really was. It's the blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen, and he just couldn't believe it. And then Matt tells Kingpin who his father was, that you killed my father. And it says, oh, your father was a bum, this, that, and everything. And then Daredevil ends up, in the end, beating Kingpin. And of course, he hears the police radios from like blocks away. And he finds out that, hey, the cops are coming for you. And Kingpin says, they're coming after you. I said, I hear on the radio, they're coming after you, big guy, they're coming after you. So don't worry, I'll be, and Kingpin says, don't worry, I'll be back. Like the Terminator, he'll be back. And then of course the reporter who'd been writing these stories up about Daredevil found out who Daredevil's secret identity actually was. And he was actually going to write an article saying Daredevil, Matt Murdock is Daredevil. It was actually Daredevil, and he deleted the whole story out of respect because Murdock took down the Kingpin. So, and then of course you see Daredevil running down, jumping off rooftops and diving and stuff like that at the end of this movie, and it's pretty much how the movie ends. But it really would have been cool if they had a second Daredevil movie, and to see if the Kingpin comes back and see what else happens in the in that franchise. But unfortunately, this movie pretty got panned pretty badly because, like I said earlier, the success of the first Spider-Man film, people expect a whole bunch of comic book movies after that. This movie turned out to be a bust. Of course, the next Marvel comic book movie that came out was, of course, Hulk. It wasn't called The Hulk or The Incredible Hulk, just Hulk, with Eric Bana playing the part and Jennifer Connelly playing Betty and Betty in the film, and it had Sam Elliott playing the general. That one turned out to be also turned out to be a bust because too much CGI in that film. But so you had a couple of movies that was a bust, and then you had Spider-Man 2, which was huge. Spider-Man 2 saved the Marvel Spider-Man movies. Tobey Maguire saved that series. But after rewatching Daredevil, I'm just curious as to why they never really because even though the movie didn't do so well in terms of the box office, or because Ben Affleck was in, or because they hired a black actor to play, because those were the problems with this movie. That Ben Affleck was in, and you had a black actor playing a white character. I think that's because of those two reasons alone. Or the third reason was the box office returns on. I think that's about the reasons why this movie never had a real franchise for this movie character. But that's my review. I know it's a little bit long, this review. We're going to go into huge details with this thing. This is my review of the movie Daredevil. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews not only my YouTube channel, but at rallyc.com, it's OWDY, and SC.com, it's the homepage of Rally Reviewer. Firstly, more, please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.